Today in class, being Thursday, we started composite functions, and we started just by looking at this word problem here. It's about tax and federal taxes, state taxes, and looks like the blue is federal and the red is state. It's kind of weird though because the y-axis represents total. See how it just says per capita tax. So back in 2000, if you go to this far right spot on the bottom of the axis, bottom of the x-axis, there's 2000. Go up to the very, very top, across, that's 10,500. That represents total tax, state plus the federal. If I go down to the red, that's just state. So a question could be like, what was just federal? That means you had to subtract the two. And then notice they use this weird notation down there. And t minus s of x. But you end up with just a function where you're subtracting the two. So if you look at the year 2000, you get 7,100 because you subtract 10,500 and 3,400. That's all we're doing is simple math. It's just different notation. So on number 2, let's give this a try. It's pretty straightforward. I want to do f plus g of x. That means take f of x and add g of x. In the end, all I am going to do is add like terms. So I literally put a plus sign between all that algebra, and looks like I only have 2 like terms, 1 and -4. I do like to put them in descending order. So I like to start with the biggest exponent, then next biggest, and 1 minus 4 is -3. And that's all. That's all you do. The next one, just like it. I'm going to go f of x plus g of x, and that gives me x squared minus 3 plus 4x plus 5. And I only add like terms. So very similar to number 2 up there. X squared plus 4x, but we do combine -3 and 5 to get 2. That's part A. Part B is just as easy. Just put 3 in place of the x. So I have 3 squared plus 4 times 3 plus 2. Simplify, and we're done. So the notation is brand new, but it's the same math you probably did way back in like 7th grade. Let's try one more. It looks difficult, but I promise it's easy. So same process. I add the 2 functions. F of x plus g of x is square root of x plus 3 plus square root of x minus 2. I go to add like terms, and I realize I'm done. Nothing to do. I don't know what the square root of that first one is, or the square root of the next is. I can't combine them. Those are unlike terms. Domain is tricky. I can only square root positives. So when I talk about the domain, what x is allowed to be, I have to make sure that under the radical, I have positives. So I take what's under the radical and I force it to be positive. I take what's under the radical on the other one and I force it to be positive. So I get x is greater than -3, x is greater than 2, which still is confusing, but if you look at a number line, you want to say the domain is where they overlap, where the shading overlaps. So there's the left one. There's the right one. and they overlap where the red is. So the domain is x greater than 2. If you're confused, try to plug in, say, this dot right here. What if that dot was 1? Does that check out for both square roots? It does for the left one, but not for the right one. For the right one, I get -1 when I plug in +1, and that's imaginary, doesn't work. So I can't plug that in. I can only plug in numbers bigger than 2. All right, see y'all later.